And welcome to today's investment pitches. We have 4 very exciting pitches for this first round. We have 2 rounds, one here from 11 to 12 and 4 exciting pitches later. But we have with us now a very exciting team who are out of DTU. It's Panos, and he's coming from Aerial Tools, and please take it away.
Thank you. It's a great honor to be here, and thank you for inviting us. I'm Panos, the CFO of Aerial Tools, and today I'm going to talk to you about our smart aerial platform for heavy-duty inspections of infrastructure and environmental sites. Some of the market pains today, most companies and governments use multiple types of equipment and software tools to efficiently inspect their infrastructure. However, due to the lack of standardization in sensing methodologies, the process is very time-consuming and costly. There is also very hard data processing that is associated with today's drone, as well as insufficient flying features. Most of today's conventional drones can rarely hover for more than 30 minutes before the user has to replace the battery. Moreover, an emerging pain is the poor connectivity to the customer network. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later on. These pains result to a very complex inspection and maintenance value chain that it is time and cost consuming. That's why we created a long endurance and heavy duty drone that can fly up to 4 hours with 3 kilograms of payload, while at the same time being a smart system. That means that we offer a plug and play sensor connection in a Lego-like concept, as well as the potential of 5G networking and the integration or even development of AI solutions. We are offering a heavy, user-friendly drone that employs the vertical takeoff and landing hybrid methodology, and we also offer easy assembly, transport, and operation. Very important to note here is that the new drone era is here. The new drone regulation of 2020 allows us now to fly in a completely autonomous way and cover large areas with a beyond the visual line of sight flights. And moving on to our unique selling points and what do our customers like the most. First of all, everybody enjoys the long flight time and the VTOL hybrid technology, while universities and research institutes mostly enjoy our sensor modularity because they're developing multiple types of applications. Moreover, we have a great value for money, and something that it is not really highlighted by the customer interest, but it is highlighted by the interest shown by large corporates, is our connectivity. Our drone offers a great potential in connectivity in terms of 5G networking that can unlock autonomous flights with high definition live data streaming. And this has many implications, especially when we're talking about AI and machine learning, where you could have these tools running on real time while you're performing your inspections. Here on the left-hand side, you can see our drone that is built by very robust and high-quality materials like carbon fiber and glass fiber parts, and it has a very easy access to our electronics and instrumentation. And on the right-hand side, you can see our core innovation, our payload patent-approved box that allows this integration with multiple sensors, as well as offering the onboard computer and a display touchscreen. A quick look on our competitors. Here we have some of the companies that closely resemble ours or are very strong competitors in the market. In terms of flight time and payload weight, we offer one of the most competitive products in the market, and we're also offering a smart system. And what do we mean by that? We mean flexibility, we mean modularity, we mean easy integration with software tools. We're not the cheapest ones, but we believe we have the best value for money in our category. Concerning our business model for 2021 and 2022, we primarily act as hardware providers, selling our drone at a base price of 20,000 euros, as well as tailored payload packages to our customers. We also want to perform service inspections so we can collect data. Data is power, and this will allow us to transition in the future in a hybrid business model where we use software as a service to give to our customers maintenance reports and help us scale up in a much more efficient and fast way. A quick look now on our customers and the market segments we serve the best is renewable energy infrastructure, maritime, and agriculture. And here are some of the companies we have signed letters of intent with, or we are planning to collaborate on pilot projects throughout the summer to prove our value proposition and to convert our 11 letters of intent into sales in the fourth quarter of 2022. So far, we started the company in January 2020 with our concept development and market research, and moving on to last January, where we started our production, we submitted our patent, which is now approved, and also joined several accelerators of the entrepreneurship ecosystem here in Denmark. Our current status is that we're preparing for our flight showcase this summer, and we are now opening our first investment round to be able to start offering, to launch our product in the fourth quarter of 2021, and to start growing organically. So we will be able to scale up by using software as a service in the summer of 2022. Here's the team. We're all DTU alumni with know-how and expertise on drone development, manufacturing, as well as drone operations and data management. The team all is Master of Science Engineers or PhDs. We have some interns working with us, as well as a very strong advisory team from the ecosystem here in Denmark. We're asking for 750,000 euros for our first investment round. We want to use this money to hire new people, more on the software side of things, as well as drone operations, and we will be able to start further developing our products. More importantly, we want this money to convert our LOIs into sales and to look for new customers. If you're interested, please send us an email at our info, and we'll come back at you as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Panos. Very exciting, very exciting. I think there's a lot of potential. I've been working a bit with the Odense cluster, the robotics, and they are really getting a lot of attention at the moment. And I think they're even expanding a lot into the drones. So how, it's really costly, right, this drone. So can you explain a little bit more about the cost associated to it, and when you are expecting really to go to market and how to scale it from there on?
Yeah, overall, I would like to tell you that we are over the most difficult hump, which was designing it and having the manufacturing agreement. Right now, we are planning to have our final prototype ready on the 14th of June, so we can ship it over in Denmark and start our showcase in VERDE Airport. As you say, the Odense hub is the place to be. There are a lot of great robotic and drone startups there, and in our plan and timeline is to go there, meet the cluster, and become a part of it. Maybe we could use their workshops and help us expand in a more organic and smooth way.
Yeah, I think it has a lot of potential. They have a lot of companies working with them for the pilots, but you already seem to have a few covered. Explain a bit more about the markets, because there's a lot of potential in these different industries. So can you elaborate a bit on it?
We are, first of all, to mention we're a very young company with professionals from the environmental and aerospace spaces. When we started our company, we could choose between army applications, we could choose between impact applications, and we are going with impact. We want to change the world as much as we can. We want to follow the trends. The renewable energy infrastructure market is one of the fastest growing ones, and as well, the maintenance of this market is very costly. So there is a lot of potential for us to reduce costs for our customers and to offer them great value with our product.
Can you expand that on how fast is the return on investment for a company, and is there a learning curve, or can you explain?
Overall, for the learning curve, that's why we made a very user-friendly product. We have the expertise, we have operated drones in the past, and it is simple, but not as simple as it should be for a product of 2020. We want to offer very easy and autonomous operations to our customers. And could you repeat the first part of the question, please?
Yeah, it was more about I think the market, also go to market.
Yes, and going to market, it depends on the customer.
Yeah.
If a customer has multiple applications, they have to buy multiple types of drones and tailor them with multiple types of sensors.
Yeah.
In our case, they could only buy our unit and have this tailored payload box with a multi-sensor setup, which is also very easy to exchange. So you could use our drone for any type of application. So
I remember, yeah. So it was also about the return on investment. You talked about you can save a lot of money. So how fast and the business case,
yes,
so to say.
A certain business case that we've done with vineyards in Spain showed that the farmer will have a return of investment in less than 2 years. He's currently using satellite data, and he pays annually 50,000 euros to get these maintenance reports. With our solution, he could have an autonomous drone to operate it with a click of a button, and every 2 weeks or 3 weeks, he could receive this maintenance report, much better data quality, much higher frequency, and a price that wouldn't surpass the 80 to 90,000 euros without having to hire anyone, so he could have a return of investment in less than 2 years with a much better product than what he receives today.
Exciting. Any questions out here? I have a last one. You said it's fundraising, so how do you plan to go around fundraising? Is it for private investors, or you want to go crowdfunding, or how do you?
We are currently in talks with several private investors from Europe and the USA. However, we're also looking into crowdfunding. We think there is a very big potential there for us. It is a bit hard to go to a crowdfunding campaign and offer to common people our product because we cannot really offer a B2C service. We're purely B2B.
Yeah.
However, we're looking into ways to maybe get a crowdfunding loan or even give some of our equity through such a platform.
Good idea. There's a lot of potential. Watch out for these guys. The future is definitely automatization and drones. So big hand to the guys here.
Thank you.
And we are for the next investment case from Squarely. It's Aga here, and we're very excited to hear what you have to bring to us. So take it away.
All right. Thank you for inviting me here. I'm very happy to tell you more about Squarely. Where is the company right now? What are our plans for the future? And what are we seeking for in terms of investment? Squarely is a Danish design brand providing products for green living with a minimal effort. We as humans have an inherent need to be close to nature. We all live and work in city environments, and it's the research that shows that plants, natural materials can boost our productivity and can make us healthier. This is also what I experienced designing sustainable buildings in the last 10 years. The solutions available on the market are usually single, plastic, purely functional products that provide greenery in spaces. There are also some more of a design products, but they're not very well thought for in terms of how do they help to grow plants. So there's a lot of solutions in the market that they're single products. And now there comes Squarely, which is providing Danish design with a modular system, with a collection of compatible products in a natural solid wood, sustainable materials, and with a self-watering system that we borrowed from agriculture, that was used in agriculture for many hundred years. It's a low-tech solution, but it reduces the maintenance cost by 3 times. And all is built in. It's very easy to take the products apart, to clean it, and to find out how the self-watering system is performing. Now, how do we develop new products and how do we sell it? When you look into the innovation expenditure for industry, actually the furniture industry is the lowest. There's a lot of very nice brands that promote the designers, but very rarely the design concept actually comes from the customer. So in Squarely, we combine it. We use the user-centered tech with a Danish design, and we allow the customers to personalize the products. This is something that we constantly evolve. I will tell you where are we now, and then later where are we going to be. So at the moment, we have a lot of different modules that customers can combine together, and then accessories. And we also create custom modules for the requests. We get a lot of these orders, and from that we get the customer data. And every season, based on this data, we release new products. Now it's more of the manual setup, but we are automating it in terms of what the customer can design and what we can produce. And you can see here some examples of accessories that fits to all the products that we have. Who are our customers? We have private customers that are mainly people living in cities, professional from 30 to 65 years old. Educated, 60% women, but 40% is also a lot of men for this kind of products. And we also have companies. We made projects for big companies as Microsoft and Velux, These companies, especially now in post-COVID time, they need to create a separation in space. They work more on a healthy indoor climate, and they want to show their space as a green business card. So that means that they invest more and more in literally green solutions. We have 3 revenue sources. We are investing heavily in the e-commerce. We sell directly through our platform, but also through our partners. We do projects. We approach, at the moment, companies directly. And we have the third leg, which is the custom orders. We had a huge spike of e-commerce last year. COVID obviously contributed to it, but we continue with good growth. We also involved more partners to sell our products in different markets. So we got resellers now in Germany, France, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Estonia. Our B2B was put a little bit calmed down last year because of COVID. We didn't know if the company will have any budgets to invest in these kind of solutions, but it still grows. And now that's very interesting, the custom part, it's growing very fast. We're green in core. The production is made from recycled plastic, and we reuse a lot of leftover wood. The products are made in a way where we can reuse a lot of wood which is discarded in other furniture. It's a lot of manual work, but we save the materials. And what is the potential? We are tapping into the key trends, which is remote everything. So people designing their home offices. It's a biophilic design, healthy living, minimalistic design. And also we see it in the numbers. And in total, the furniture size of the market is 340 billion euros. In our team, we have people working with product development, sales, marketing, and a strong advisory board in IT and Danish design. And we're looking for the investment right now to scale up internationally, to invest mainly in sales, marketing, and our e-commerce. We received an investment in 2019 that was 500,000 krona. We had a revenue last year of 750,000 krona. Now we are looking for 1.5 million Danish krona. And we are going to invest it in making product configurators and investing more in personalization and selling digitally, also for our partners. If you're interested to talk to us, please reach to Skrelly. You can write to me directly or to our Skrelly email. If you're interested as a private person, get yourself a Skrelly box. Thank you for now, and I will be happy to answer some questions.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So I think Danish design and Lego, it resonates a lot with here. But yourself, you're not from here, so can you tell a little bit background, your story? How did you come up with this product?
Yes, originally I come from Poland. And I ended up in Denmark more than 10 years ago. I actually won a competition for students of architecture organized by another big Danish company, Velux. And afterwards, I got offered a job where I was working a lot with sustainable concepts, showcases of housing, where we were making a lot of evaluations of the indoor climates. So that's from where my passion towards sustainability and healthy living grew. And I was also working with a lot of numbers, but I saw that we need something more tangible as humans. Yeah. So it's not only numbers, but it's also plans and what we feel and see around. Yeah. I always had a passion for entrepreneurship, and I saw that there were a lot of great designs made by architects for single-time use. Yeah. My idea was to create something which can be used multiple times. So it both refers to the product as such, but also to the modularity of the whole concept.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And I think also there's a lot of these ambitious companies like Velux who really want to fully integrate these sustainable things and also get the employees to feel and touch more sustainability. So can you tell more about the customers and the feedback you get and how many customers you have? Because you already saw a lot of great names. Give us some insights to feedback from the customers and how many you have already on your platform?
We have a lot of B2C customers. So we sold products to over 600 private consumers, and we very regularly ask for the feedback. And I think the best feedback is that we see that a lot of these customers come back. So they start buying one product and then they add on. Their feedback is that they manage to maintain plants much better. And of course, we have also companies, and so we saw that actually 60% of the companies we had also repeated the orders. So I think that's the best proof that they like the concept and it works.
Absolutely. Any particular person in the companies you are talking to, or how is the go-to-market for you besides the more online way to talk to customers?
We often talk to office managers, facility managers. If we work with smaller companies, that can be directly CEOs. Also store managers. We had a lot of projects also for stores and restaurants before COVID. But we hope this branch will revive as well.
Absolutely. And give a little bit, you said you are fundraising, or is it a crowdfunding, or how are you planning to raise your next round of money?
We actually start now from looking for investors. We had a very busy spring because the business was really going very high up this season. So that's why it got a little bit postponed. We're not in a hurry, but we know that we need to put extra capital if we want to be a leader in a niche. So we start from business angels and, mainly business angels, private investors. And in the end of summer, we are going also to release a crowdfunding campaign.
Okay. Super cool.
And that's different things because we search for the investors to get more money to scale up for marketing and sales. Whereas crowdfunding will bring us more capital for the product development.
And who are you targeting? Is it IKEA, or what's your market size you're going for? Do you know that the total address, the market in total? Do you know where you're ending up?
Yeah, that's probably around 30 million euros if we talk about the numbers.
Yeah. Okay, super exciting. So please give a hand and follow them if you want to make an investment. Pretty solid.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And we are ready for our third very exciting investment case, all the way from Sweden,
Yep.
Malmö, I guess?
Well, not Malmö.
Not Malmö, but
Sweden, yeah.
at least Sweden. And I think we know each other a little bit because we've been bouncing, and it's a very exciting field we are diving into right now. And Peter will explain more how it is so. So please, Peter, take it away.
Thank you. My name is Peter Dolving. I'm the visionary and the CEO behind SVENSKA VERDE AB, which is a European medical cannabis company. To even understand what I'm about to talk to you, you should kind of understand the bigger scope of everything. This is where we're here in a sustainability conference, and so what would cannabis-related medicine have to do with sustainability? Well, it's actually the reality and the background for all this goes back to about 2009 until 2019, in the time where the WHO and the UN and the general kind of supranational kind of establishments kind of got together and decided to take a larger look at, well, what are the needs? Where are we? What do we need to do? One of the things that they really realized that we don't only have to deal, we have to go forward in trying to deal with and understand what is environmental challenges. We do that. However, there's something even more important that we need to think. How do we realize that? How do we make that happen? To even make that happen, people have to feel good. They have to be in a good state, in a part of a society. Now, to even get to begin to talk to this greater problematic, realize, well, this is going to be just too complex to even bring forth. So how do we do that? We're going to need money. We're going to need a lot of money. So where do you get that money? We looked and we looked and we realized that, well, there's actually money to be made in helping people. And this is where we took a look at something the group of friends that have started this company, we know a lot about pain. With people who have diagnosis and stuff. We looked at MS and neuropathic pain, and we found that it's a huge market. And we saw that there were potential to move forward with medical cannabis formats in a way that, how can we do this? Well, what we found were paths that gives us a possibility to move very quickly to a pharmaceutical market by doing pharmaceutical solutions entirely specified and engineered for that market, for the needs that are specific for the pharmaceutical market. In this case, we're talking about MS patients, and we're talking about neuropathic patients. It's a huge market. We're talking about maybe 500 million people almost. So it's a large, quite large market, this. We've also, when we started looking at these two particular formats that we looked into, we realized that there was a huge potential for further formats. It's like, well, this is cool. This is nice, then we can start making more money and we can start going forward with doing what we want to do, which is informing about human beings, the brain. Well, how do we do that? We brought together a whole group of very, very experienced and seasoned life science companies, anything from design to engineering to regulatory development, etc. And today, that's what we have. We have a functioning production machine, so to speak. Right now, this is us, the little gang of four here. Carolina down at the corner, she's in Brazil. We met 5 years ago, and we've been working together on this project for a long time. The four of us are basically doers. We're the kind of people who start rock festivals, the kind of people who start companies, the kind of people who we get ideas and then we talk to each other. And like we just happen to kind of know each other from over 30 years of achieving things. And then I have this idea. Well, let's talk about it. So from here, we end up looking at how do we make this a reality? How do we go about this? Well, we have to go through market, of course. Which market is the best one for us? How do we start to do this in a realistic manner? We start with Germany. In Germany, we know the market. We know how to work in the pharmaceutical market. We have the understanding of the pharmaceutical market, and we have the access to the resources needed to bring our products out to the actual shelves. As you can see, the numbers are huge. If you are interested in numbers, you'll have plenty of time to look at the numbers afterwards if you just talk to me. So the competition, what is the competition? The competition is kind of odd because on one hand, we're looking at one thing that looks to be a market on the growth. I should tell you it's not. Medical cannabis is a no. It's not. It's a non. It's jive. There's nothing. Cannabis is jive. It's uninteresting. Medicine, pharmaceutical, that's interesting. If you want to create medicine, you have to do it accordingly. This is not strange. Now, a lot of the people and a lot of the companies who have entered this market, they do not want to acknowledge the fact that if you want to place medicines on shelves for people, you need to deliver standards, and you need to deliver security, and you need to, be able to truly deliver. You can't jive around with something that's half-assed, where you get like different ratios of different APIs. What we found, I should say that, what we found is very little in relation to what is called cannabis flower. We don't even go close to it. We work with APIs. So what we've done is we've brought together basically what is the pharmaceutical industry segment of what is medical cannabis in Europe. Our first product, the VERDE, is a generic THC CBD product. We believe we'll have it ready for market by 2024. The regulatory process is underway. Everything started. We believe we can have phase 1 running by May next year. It's very uncomplicated. It's just a bunch of laboratory steps. It's all routine. The Pebble is quite more of a complicated contraption. It's basically an inhalator for the APIs that we're working with. What is good with that? Well, it makes the consumption of the APIs that one step safer for the end client. And today we have a lot of clients who really wrestle with the fact that they need daily medication, but with what is cannabis flower, you have a pyroclastics. You have to set it on fire, heat it up, and you have to breathe in what is basically fumes. And if you heat it up too much, then you get smoke. You don't want that. You don't want anyone having to, continuously breathe that in. So we've created a smart inhaler, if you may. Makes everything a lot easier. It makes everything easier for the patient, and it makes everything easier for the caregiver, the doctor who has to follow up everything. All right, so the finance for all this takes us about 4 years to start making money. We'll be pouring about, all in all, we'll be pouring out maybe 30 million Swedish crowns in the next 4 years here. We aim to bring in money in 2 capitalization segments. The first one has just started, and the second one starts next year in May. What else? Well, I believe we have an ask. So this is kind of where our capitalization is at right now. For the next, we don't know how long, we do know that for the next at least 4 or 5 weeks, we'll be talking to investors, and we'll be talking to people who are interested in the products, but also interested in the company, because this is so far much more than 1 or 2 single products. It's a whole thing. Anyway, I hope that this has kind of made you a little bit curious, and if you have any questions, please just let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you. It's definitely a exciting field, and it's kind of a wonder drug with the whole cannabis, and there's a lot of excitement. I think especially also in the US, it's taken off a lot, and I know there has been a few actors even here in Denmark, Copenhagen, working in this space. There's a question already, maybe. Yeah, please.
2 online questions.
Yeah.
One from Lone. The question is, do you still see a resistance/prejudice for cannabis products?
A what?
Resistance, yeah.
Not in the field that we're in, but we're not a cannabis company. We are a pharmaceutical company, so that's the big difference. I mean, I think that there's still going to be a lot of social stigma, and that is just a generational issue. It's just a social, people have morals, I guess, and that's all it is. I mean, the drama we should really work to get rid of the drama. It does no one any good. We're a pharmaceutical company.
And there's one more question from Thomas. Is this legal?
Yes, absolutely. We're just joking about this yesterday. We are now officially legal drug kingpins. that thing you would kind of joke about. You see movies about drug kingpins. Well, we're actual drug kingpins. We're very much smaller than an example, AstraZeneca or Novo Nordisk, but we are amongst them, but very small.
Yeah, I guess I guess that's maybe also where people are a little bit, because you are kind of in between going from a health company and now you're going for the big pharma guys. Do you have any kind of exit because it's so costly, right, to do the steps going to the market.
You know, we're kind of in a point as founders where, you know, we've gone far beyond that. You know, we've gone far beyond and above. We've spent 10 years just working out the back, you know, just the material, just getting the data. We spent 2 years in Humboldt County, Oregon, up in the hills of Oregon. We spent 2 years in the jungle in Brazil and going up towards and down towards Uruguay as well. We were here in Denmark several years and speaking to people here. Again, it's one of those things where it's gone beyond being a regular enterprise kind of risk project for us. For now it's fun. It's you know, it's taken that much time and it's become a lifestyle kind of thing.
In the region, there's a lot of people been working in the pharma industry. Do you see a resistance from the guys being working in big pharma, jumping to something like you, which is an alternative to a big market? So you are kind of a...
1 year ago, I would have said yes, because 1 year ago we were still seeing resistance. Today we're talking to amazing people in the pharmaceutical industry that have finally kind of got what this is and how to work with a format. And this is something that I've said before, and we see it over again. It's not that the industry itself, you know, and looking at the pharmaceutical industry, doesn't have, say, the knowledge or the capacity, the resources. You should know the global international pharmaceutical industry has you know, invested billions into cannabis. People don't know this, but they have. They've really looked at the format. How do we try to make these APIs workable? And they haven't really found it. We have. Kind of cool, huh? And we're happy to share it with the medical industry as it is, because that's why we're here. We have a format. We together have knowledge and understanding, and that's what we're supposed to be doing.
So, but you're fundraising now, looking for
Yes.
capital. So, what kind of investors do you seek? Are you also aiming for crowdfunding, or is it? Do you want smart investors from the business?
We are looking specifically for relatively conservative investors within the pharmaceutical space on one hand. But we're also looking for, so we hope that we can get a balance between a couple of more risk addressing investors. And that's just to kind of get the dynamic of the more risk addressing kind of, because there you have more of an engagement in making things happen. They partake in, if you're lucky, if you find good people, of course.
Absolutely. More questions. I have a final maybe one. This is the risk side.
Yep.
What would you say would be the biggest risk? Because, you know, going through phases and sometimes it's like you die almost because of compliances and stuff like that, right?
The big one in here, I mean, we've taken all the risks. We've done the heavy lifting. We've done that. We're past that. So right now, the biggest risk will be an emotional risk in 1 year period when you actually hand over the applications to the European Medical Association and say, we would like to enter the market. And then you have that time until, and then they go through, I think, 3 or 4. So that's an emotional risk. It's boring and it takes time. And even though you know that it's routine, everyone who goes through it every time, you're just like, oh, they shouldn't go faster. But it is, and that's the risk we're looking at today. So.
And then the green goal, right? So hopefully you get enough cash in so you can really pursue your dream and
then we can start doing all the fun stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, give a big hand to Peter and
thank you.
Best of luck. To our final and very exciting company here that just recently went IPO, and for us just dreaming about IPO, There's one company who has done it. And I've been using this platform, and it's very exciting. And I hear from Anders that they already are actually trying to make Copenhagen even greener than the already high ambitions from the city's council. So Anders, please take it away.
Thank you. And you're very right. That's the main focus of our business, to make it green. Maybe just a small correction to start with. We've actually listed since 2017. Okay. But we transitioned into main market last year. So that's the recent part. But GreenMobility, as you see, the greenest mobility provider, something a bit we've been taking maybe an arrogant position on this, but I think it's also important to put this on the agenda, that we need to have green as part of our mobility. This has to be very high on the agenda for cities, for companies as well. From the launch of GreenMobility in 2016, we followed 3 megatrends. They were key then, but they're equally key today. So urbanization, that more and more of us are moving into the big cities. We're bringing along private cars, causing lots of obvious problems. Sustainability, or the green agenda, if you like, that we have to have a more green, not only mobility, but society in general. And then the last megatrend, which to some extent is an enabler as well, the sharing economy. Just 5 years ago, having mobility through a smartphone was at best difficult. Today, it's everyday life for us and for competitors and for our users as well. Looking at the urbanization and the sustainability part of cities, and coming a little bit back to what I said before, more and more cars in the big cities, and even smaller cities, are causing problems in terms of parking, queuing, loss of hours, and so on. That is something we are trying to combat. I don't presume to say we are the entire solution, but we are at least part of the solution. So it is also about working with other shared mobility operators, working with public transport, finding ways where we can complement each other, so we can actually ultimately move private cars out of the city. That's some of the goals we see in cities across Europe, that obviously we want to save on CO2, but we also want to reduce private cars in the cities. And in order to do that, we need to have alternatives. So the idea of a car-free city, I think, is impossible. That would make businesses become much more challenging. So we need to find better solutions, and of course, they have to be sustainable. So that's where that's the segment we're in. And I think that the journey we've seen just in the past couple of years has been enormous. When I joined GreenMobility in 2017, I spent a lot of time traveling around, meeting city planners, politicians around Europe. And at that time, I think we were looking more at something that was a nice to have rather than a need to have. Today, that has flipped. So we are seeing now that we are being called upon by cities that have heard about our solution and are now wanting to bring it to their city. I think it falls very well in line with all the CO2 ambitions and goals that cities and countries have set across Europe. So now it's about actually making these changes, putting in more infrastructure, parking solutions, and all these things that makes it more accessible. Briefly, GreenMobility, as I said in the beginning, we went on First North, the growth exchange here in Copenhagen in 2017. And then last year, we transitioned into the main market listing of Nasdaq. We are today in 8 cities across Europe. So here in Denmark, Copenhagen and Aarhus, Sweden, with Malmö and Gothenburg, Helsinki in Finland, and then Belgium, say the 3 major cities, so Antwerp, Brussels, and Ghent. As you'll see on the map, there are also a couple of sort of light green dots. These are the cities that we are planning to go into. Obviously, our ambitions are much higher than this. I'll come back to that at the end. But that's the beauty of being a listed company. You have to control the information you send to the market. And these are the cities that we've at least publicly announced that we're planning to go into. So Oslo, Vienna, and then a city in Germany. Germany in itself has a huge potential just from the sheer number of big cities in Germany. And it's actually a very sharing-friendly country, despite all their private cars. We service today, it says 23,000 customers here. It's closer to 130,000 across these cities with a total of 950 EVs. Our service, and we don't have time to go sort of really deep into it, I think the fundamental part is that we want to keep it simple. changing from owning your own car into shared mobility is also a change of habits. So in order to do that, it needs to be quicker, simpler, cheaper than what you have today. And that's the basis of our business. So you have, of course, you have everything on your smartphone through our app. It has to be very simple, intuitive in terms of pricing product-wise. We believe also that we have to keep a very high quality level. And to do that, we have our own team to handle everything. We don't believe in outsourcing. This is done much more effectively in-house. So we have our own team to service our customers on the phone, on emails. We have our own team to service the cars in the cities we're in. So we have teams on the streets in all cities. I think it's fundamental to make sure that we have a high quality level of the cars. Various solutions on both parking and charging and how we interact with the cities on these. And just to give you sort of a small 3 minutes left. Okay, we speed it up. So we work on a hub and satellite structure across Europe where from one place we service several cities in order to keep costs low. Obviously, the green part of our company holds a big part of what we do. We do a lot of reporting on this, sustainability report. I think the CO2 emissions saved is one of the most obvious ones for everyone to follow, but we actually report on a number of areas. You can find much more on that on our website. Briefly around the business model we work on. When we enter new cities, we can predict the cost levels that we operate in on actually a very high degree of certainty. So we know the cost per car, which is the way we measure it, because that's the cost center, also the revenue center. Pretty stable, around €1,000 per car. And then obviously, like opening any other businesses, we need to build up revenue. And obviously as well, doing as quickly as possible. So we expect all new cities to become break-even within 2 or 3 years from launch. And just to show sort of the way we've developed over time, measured in active trips here, this is just for Copenhagen, so it's comparable figures. Obviously, with the number 2 dip, you can see the effects of COVID last year. But interestingly enough, also throughout the entire second half of last year, we've seen that our customers have adopted to shared mobility, and even more important, more and more people have taken up shared mobility. So we don't see the same sort of dips. The last dip you see is actually in January, where Copenhagen was under maybe not a lockdown, but at least close to it. So there are much less impact now, and the growth trend continues also into second quarter. This also led us last year to be able to post profitability. We are, as the first fully EV car share, we've shown profitability in Copenhagen in our operation here. And I can say this morning we put out a notice release that in May we've had a record high performance in Copenhagen. Not only reaching all-time high revenue, but also actually an EBIT level of 17% in our business here. Obviously, that has to now be duplicated to both the other existing cities, but also new cities. And that's where we're growing the business. The European market holds tremendous potential. We can operate down to city sizes of 250,000, and we have more than 160 of those in Europe. And being a green company, entirely with EVs, obviously the doors are opened all across Europe. So for us, it's about scaling this, coming into new cities, bringing our electric cars and the service that we can duplicate and all the processes that we have in our existing cities. Which also lead me to the final slide, the ambitions and more specifically the aspirations we've put out, that by 2025 we want to be present in 35 cities, and by that being a leading operator in Europe, having more than 10,000 EVs on the streets. So,
thank you, Anders. Very impressive numbers and a very impressive company. So yeah, I'm sure we all are pretty impressed with what you're doing. Tell me a bit more about your competition, and are you changing to German cars when you go into the German market? Of course, it's these big German or these big car companies are you up against, or who is the competition?
We have several competitors. We have one big in Europe called Share Now, owned by BMW and Daimler. We see them here in Copenhagen as well. The interesting part is we can easily compete with them. But I think you also have to look at it that we are building a market, that the market for shared cars needs to be much, much bigger. So while they are a competitor, we are also on the same path. But we see a number of competitors around Europe. And actually, often from a business perspective, it's a good idea to have more than one operator in a city. We have more available cars for customers, and we can build the market faster.
But will you have a German car into the fleet, or what's any predictions on that?
Well, as of now, we only have French cars. And I don't see that to be as big an issue, actually. Going into Germany, the one we use here has been the highest selling EV in Germany for years.
Yeah.
But I think you also have to look at it from a perspective of majority of our customers are young, likewise for our competitors. We have short trips. So the make of the car has less of importance because you're not buying it, you're using it for 20, 30 minutes. So it becomes more about a convenience thing. I don't think we need to buy German cars. But it could be French, Italian, German, could be whatever.
It could be anything, because you're
Absolutely.
Platform agnostic, yeah.
We're not exclusive with any car manufacturers, and I don't think there's a value
plans
to that.
out of Europe, or stay in Europe, or?
Fundamentally, we have a business and a platform that's global, but to start with, let's focus on Europe. We're not the same, but when you compare to East and West, we are much closer to Europe. It's within a time zone that we can operate, and the potential in Europe is huge. So let's start here before we go all around the globe.
Absolutely.
We'll do that later.
Absolutely. Any questions? I'll have a final one. You are looking still for... yeah, there's one over here.
How big of an investment are you looking for?
Yeah, so investors, can you tell more
Sure.
about investors?
We are, as I mentioned in the beginning, we're a listed company. So essentially, you can buy shares in the company every day. We've also put out information that we expect to raise between 75 and 150 million Danish kroner this year. And we are on an ongoing funding phase in the sense that we had a panel discussion earlier this morning where we say, okay, you list your company and then you're done, but at least not in our case. So we built it very much sort of on phases that we raise sort of amount of investment. We use that to launch new cities, should also increase the value of the company. Obviously, we show some result, and then we go out for additional investment rounds. So I think we've said to realize our aspirations for 2025, we expect to invest upwards of 1 billion. We're going to do that in the coming years. So it's an ongoing process. It's a day job.
So, thank you for that, Anders, and thank you for the question. And yeah, if you want to jump the green mobility and green transition on a large scale, I think you can go to this company here, GreenMobility, and then if you're a small investor or large investor, there's a room for you.
There's room for everyone.
And also
Absolutely.
for driving a car. So thank you, Anders, and we'll
Thank
be
you,
back
everyone.
at 1 o'clock for more exciting investment cases. So thank you, guys.